The crisp cool of autumn has descended on Virginia. It's quiet and peaceful with the aroma of wood smoke drifting through the trees. Championship as close as this one is, they really matter. Well, Pro Stock is coming up at the Virginia Nationals, part of the NHRA Full Throttle Drag Racing Series. Virginia Motorsports Park, a beautiful multi-purpose facility. Here is the Lucas Oil Pro Stock ladder. Take a look at Greg Stanfield, who's qualified with a career best, a rematch of Indy, and that one was won just by inches by Jed Coughlin.
Other side of the ladder, right in the middle of that countdown battle, Greg Anderson. He's going to have to get around Dave Northrup in the first round to keep his hopes alive.
These guys always finish so very close. Here comes Ron Krisher and Rodger Brogdon. Krisher looking for his 150th round win.
Pro Stock just love when you have cool, crisp air. That corrected altitude at the beginning of the fuel session was just 1,000 feet above sea level. That's when they're able to make a lot of horsepower in these normally aspirated cars.
First Pro Stock pair down the track, and that is easily going to be a win by Rodger Brogdon. 6:57, 210 miles an hour. Career best elapsed time for Rodger Brogdon. Let's send you to the top end again and Gary Gerald.
Tony, how devastating is that loss to your championship hopes?
Well, I don't think, I mean, I guess there's the possibility that if Robert, I can assure you one thing, Wilkerson ain't going to give it to him. So, hey, if Robert gets stopped early, we're still by no means a little tougher to do. The clock's ticking, so we've only got 2 races left. But this isn't going to get me down. I mean, hey, we missed it. I'm a little discouraged that, we made some changes on the car. Some good air came in, and, obviously we didn't keep up with it. But it just goes to show us that we've been pushing this car, and it's a little closer to the edge than what we thought. So we're just going to hope for last couple of races, and, at this point, it's all about winning.
Tony, what did you mean when you said that Wilkerson won't give it to him? Are you saying that John gave that to Robert?
Well, hey, you guys asked my opinion. I'm going to give you, I am entitled to my opinion. And there's a lot of different ways you can set the cars up to run slower. I think it's a little bit of a disappointment, but it's never going to be perfect. Hey, that's, again, you guys need to put John in the pressure cooker just like you put me. I'll give you my opinion, but I do know this. Wilkerson's car is running good. Robert can beat him, but they're going to have to step up to the plate, and I'll be up on the starting line to watch that one.
Thanks.
Here we go again. Larry Morgan takes down the championship contender, Johnny Gray. A career best for Larry Morgan. And don't forget, coming up is ESPN's 30 for 30. The Band That Wouldn't Die, presented by Levi's on ESPN Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Late March 1984. Moving company secretly packed up the Baltimore Colts belongings and left Baltimore for Indianapolis. Well, there's Warren Johnson. He'll go up against Ronnie Humphrey. Warren Johnson has 4 wins here at the old Richmond event. His first start in the current Richmond race, and his problems here the last couple of years. And for Ronnie Humphrey, it's going to be his first time racing Warren Johnson, who we call the Professor.
Guys, pay attention to the numbers. 6.528 seconds. That's the national elapsed time record as it stands right now. Talked to a couple of guys here. They say the conditions are right there for it right now. Mike, they said the air is as much as 2 to maybe 0.03 of a second better than what we saw in qualifying. So it stands to reason that there's a very good chance that record will fall.
Absolutely. With atmospheric conditions, the key is there's a little bit of sun on the racetrack. Conditions aren't going to be quite as tight as yesterday, but that doesn't affect the Pro Stock cars as much as it does the fuel cars.
And 11 guys in the Pro Stock field already have the backup for a national record, including both of these guys. Ronnie's been sitting there a while. Here comes Warren.
Bit of a stadium duel, huh? Yeah, Warren goes in.
Here we go. Ronnie Humphrey, 6:53 with a 7, 212 miles an hour. Ronnie Humphreys has the fastest speed ever. That's pretty cool. Right here in the sunlight, but cool temperatures in Richmond.
Got plenty more good cars behind him, though, but that KB horsepower, that's a good indication that the conditions are there atmospherically. We're not seeing the 60-foot times that we saw yesterday, but with the better air, they're running better through the middle of the race course, and obviously on the top end is indicated by that 212-mile-an-hour speed by Ronnie Humphrey.
And we're looking at the helmet cam here. And it's over. You gotta love pro stock. And Warren Johnson ran his quickest run ever and lost. You saw that track temperature. That's helping everything out. Sun's on it, but the air is keeping it cool.
How long it's going to last, but at this exact moment in time, you are the fastest man in the history.
And here comes Jeg Coughlin and Greg Stanfield. We talked about this one. Greg ran a career best in qualifying.
8 on up.
This is a big matchup for both these drivers. Rematch of the final round of the U.S. Nationals, where Jeg just barely beat Greg Stanfield by inches to get that U.S. Nationals victory. Both of these cars below the dreaded do-or-done line, so obviously each one needs this round win, and not only do they need the round win, they probably need to go on and win the race today.
Yeah, I was talking with Jeg Sr., his dad, and he was saying we really got to do something. I gave the team a lecture. Look at that. You see Humphrey, he's really pumped up as he takes that first round win.
First round win ever, and he wins the fastest speed ever. How about that?
That's a nice moment.
Yeah, welcome to pro stock. That's great.
Stanfield and Coughlin.
Stanfield got the
Wonder
whole
how much
shot.
that's
Jeg
going to
was all
cost
over the
him.
place.
And it's going to be Stanfield. Jeg is in trouble again. Such a consistent season for so long, and then suddenly he's had a couple of problems in first round.
Well, the problem that when Jeg has a problem, it's usually on the setup. They get a little bit too much wheel speed, and Jeg's got to do some driving. Same thing left side of your screen. Watch that thing. Made that left turn off of the starting line. He had to reel it back in. Lost a lot of elapsed time right there. That allowed Greg Stanfield to get the win. Watch that. Boy, it just makes a hard left turn. Didn't even signal for that one, but Jeg Coughlin pulled second gear, reeled it back in. But unfortunately, it was just not enough to get around Greg Stanfield.
Stanfield was 6th in the points coming into this race. He said he didn't think he had much of a chance, but they were going to give it a go, and they have. Look at the Lucas Oil photo finish cam. Let's go to John Kernan.
With Jack Beckman, a first-round loser, but you're seeing some things happen. Now you got to cheer for Tim Wilkerson maybe to keep you in this championship fight.
Yeah, getting the Get Guaranteed Valvoline car on the pole got us a few more points, and you know we're still within sight of the top 3 cars. And to watch 2 of them go out's great. The problem is we get no more points, and there's a slew of great running cars right behind us. Caps has already gone ahead of us, and we actually could fall back 2 or 3 more positions here. We're running out of rounds. Height could feasibly eliminate us from championship contention today if he runs the table. We got 8 rounds left. And, you know, you just watch your percentages go down. You figure you need to average a semifinal or a final. Now we've got to win both races, and we've got to hope that a bunch of cars falter. And there's a bunch of great running cars right now.
Thank you, Jack. Well, good best of luck in Vegas.
A good analysis there by Jack Beckman. Jason Line and Ryan Ondrejko are up now. Ondrejko, it's his first race at Richmond. Jason is a contender in the countdown to the championship. Won here in 2006 over Tom Martino.
And Jason with the lane choice is taking that left-hand lane. It's pretty much everybody in pro stock has. Your number 4 qualifier up against Ryan, your number 13. Oh, Ryan gets her sideways. He does a good job reeling it in, though.
Well, he got it back under control and gave Jason Line a run. 6:53, though, 211 miles an hour for Jason Line. He takes the win light. That there, as we continue this here at Richmond, a career best run.
They're just pushing, getting really close to that national record. Just can't seem to get it. Jason makes a very nice pass. You saw Ryan really had to do some driving. I tell you, for a young driver, he does a very good job over there. But Jason Line, he's moving into the second round. Look at that. Carried the front end probably a little bit more than he wanted to. They usually don't try to carry it that high or that far. But they'll go back there and make the adjustments. Still a 6:53 great pass.
More pro stock coming up as they all shoot for that 6:52 with an 8 as a record. Ron Keff's taking it easy. He'll face Bob Tasca when they come back. Well, the crowd's loving it here. The NHRA Full Throttle Drag Racing Series. We're in the finals of the Virginia Nationals. Pro stock on the track. Kurt Johnson and John Nobile. Well, Kurt Johnson has tied his best starting spot of the season, ran a career best in qualifying with a 6:54 with a 6. That was his pass.
Oh,
where's he going?
Right turn. There's an upset for you.
Yep, John Nobile is going down. He'll take the win light. Last started a race here in Richmond in 2008, and he lost then to Jake Coughlin, but now he's got a win.
John almost gave it away. That 006 reaction time got the advantage over this man here, Kurt Johnson. But watch what happens. Man, that thing made a hard right turn when he tried to pull second gear. Way too much wheel speed. At that point, Kurt knew he had to just push it in the clutch and get off the throttle.
Let's go to Gary Gerald at the top end, and I'm sure a disappointed Jake Coughlin.
Well, Jag, we have to ask the same question we've had to ask a couple of guys already today in terms of the countdown to the championship. With this loss, what's that do for your chances at grabbing that golden wally?
Well, it certainly stifles it almost 100%. You know, but with the group we're running with out here with Mike Edwards and the two KB racing teams and the Johnsons, it's just a tough battle. You know, it hurts that we've had such a poor performance here in the countdown. We've definitely inflicted most of our own wounds, which is good and bad. It's bad that we made them, good that we know how it happened. So, you know, we've been real strong in the countdowns, and I think we were favored just based on our last 2 years' performance. But obviously, it doesn't look like that's going to happen in 2009. We're going to have to pass the torch along, but we're not going to go down without a fight. We've had some great support, obviously, from Jegs and Jegs.com and R&L Carriers, Snap-on Tools, and just a whole host of folks that keep the yellow and black out front. And now we'll just focus our attention to 2 races to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
V. Gaines and Mike Edwards, who increased his lead from 65 to 88 points, #1 in the countdown to the championship. And Mike Edwards came down with something on Monday, and he still has it, kind of a flu-like symptoms.
Big advantage for V.
Another good run, Mike Edwards, national record elapsed time. 6:50 with a 9. It's on the board, already has it set to go, and Mike Edwards with a national record.
20 more points if he can leave here today with that national record. Boy, that was a great run. Just missed a 6:40 elapsed time by 100th of a second. Take another look. V. Gaines had a huge advantage off the starting line, but Mike Edwards, I mean, he reeled him in pretty much at 60 feet and then never looked back. Nice pass. Take a look at the Lucas Oil photo finish cam. Mike Edwards, even after that big hole shot, still had him by just over a half a car length.
Wow, what a run. Celebration at the start line. So deserved. Let's go to Dave Reeve.
Now, Terry Adams, you told me a 6:52 would be good. You got to be ecstatic with a 6:50 with a 9. What's the key to running a number like that on a track like today?
Main thing is not get too aggressive. Just kind of keep it on an even keel. Looked like we were pretty aggressive in. We didn't make a real nice run. I really think we could have ran better than what we did.
How nervous are you watching that guy now come right behind you?
This guy right here is dangerous.
It's Greg Anderson.
Yeah, the guy they're talking about is Greg Anderson, the car that Ronnie Humphrey drove at Charlotte. Coming up in 4 pairs, Antron Brown, Tony Schumacher. That'll be a matchup. Tony Schumacher still looking for that 500th round win, but Greg Anderson, he's the focus right now. Never won here at Richmond. Like everybody says, he's so strong. Dave Northrup on the other side. Anderson drives a couple of little other places. Still, he's going to get the win light.
Wow, that's a nice run.
Yeah. Second quickest pass ever, 6:51 with a 7, and 212 miles an hour. Fastest ever. Record ETs, record speeds, and we're only at the end of the first round. Look at this, Mike. Record-breaking runs this season, and 2 of them right here.
It basically happened in the last week, too. The Greg Anderson, Mike Edwards in Pro Stock, and Hector Arana last week in Memphis.
And let's look at the points now as we've concluded that first round of Pro Stock. And Jason Line is dropped a little. Greg Anderson got around him. Mike Edwards still number 1, 88 points ahead, Mike.
Definitely the 3 above that do or done line are definitely the ones that are in it. Greg Stanfield's still in the show, but he's pretty far back.
Hey, G-Man, what's Mike Edwards thinking?
You needed every ounce of that to get by V because he had you coming on the tree. But you tell us about the thoughts of putting a national record together and whether or not it will be able to stand through the rest of the competition today.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that'll stand or not. We didn't make the greatest of runs, but it was the fastest for us by far. So, boy, thank the Lord I have lots of power because V was way out there on me. I'm going to have to get better there.
Hope you're feeling better, too.
Coming around a little bit, Gary.
The possibility of bonus points may have a great healing effect on this.
Well, the first time that we saw it was when Mike Edwards came out. They'd been nibbling on the edge of that record, and then Greg Anderson came out and got the speed. And here now is the Lucas Oil Pro Stock ladder looking up to that second round. The 2 contenders here, Jason Line and Greg Stanfield. But let's not count out Rodger Brogdon against Edwards. He's having a good day.
Other side of the ladder, look at that. Greg Anderson, Ronnie Humphrey. Ronnie runs a 653 at 212 miles per hour and doesn't get lane choice against Greg, the only other car to run over 212 miles per hour.
Yeah, let's take a look at this just one more time. It's worth it. This is Mike Edwards' record-breaking run.
And it wasn't perfect. You saw him do a little bit of driving off the starting line.
You watch the numbers come up, and celebration begins. And then out came Greg Anderson. And despite that, all the way down with a blistering speed. Oh, now Robert Height, they work on his car. He is the points leader in Funny Car now, and Tim Wilkerson is his next target when Funny Car Round 2 comes back to the line in Richmond. Time we are having in Richmond. Krista Marie, if you want to find out what's going on with her, www.kristamarie.net. Well, for Dave Reef and Gary Gerald, John Kernan, and Mike Dunn, I'm Paul Page. Thanks for joining us here today as we are in Virginia, the Virginia Nationals. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
So uncharacteristic to see you and your team struggle on both passes today. The first one, of course, you're still able to get that win. Tell us in your mind, what this does now in terms of this countdown.
What it does right now is today is you can't get any more points with the Allen Abbey team. So, we got 2 races left, and, at the end of the day, we'll see how much damage is done. And, but I've seen these group of people do historic things, right down to the last run at Pomona. And, it may take that, and you may see it again this year. Thanks.
Pro Stock, Larry Morgan and John Nobile driving a Morgan car with Morgan power. Larry Morgan just does a little chicane coming off the line and then takes the win.
660 with a 5, 210.37. Blew the tires off of it.
Larry Morgan is on his way into his first semifinal of the year.
Larry Morgan, he was pretty late. John Nobile had the advantage off the starting line, but boy, Larry was all kinds of sideways before Nobile pushed the clutch in. I think that just let Larry go by and get the win.
And just a reminder for you of things yet upcoming. The Las Vegas Nationals, our second visit there this year, qualifying in 3 weeks. Saturday, October 31st. Then on Sunday, it'll be NHRA Race Day presented by Lucas Oil, 11 o'clock in the morning. And the finals come up at 7 o'clock Sunday evening. That's anything like this race, Mike. Oh, wow.
3 weeks off, and with that funny car battle, I'm not going to be able to take it.
I'm going to have to be retrained. As Pro Stock comes back up, here's the ladder presented by Lucas Oil. Mike Edwards has Rodger Brogdon, Jason Line, Greg Stanfield. Greg could move up.
Oh, yes, Ken. We've seen Larry Morgan already advance, and then that other matchup between the 212-mile-an-hour club there, Greg Anderson and Ronnie Humphrey.
And coming to the line right now, Jason Line. His quickest ET ever was run in round 1. And Greg Stanfield, he had a career best in qualifying. So both these guys enjoying the conditions, and their cars are working good.
Greg Stanfield, 007, but it was all for 9.
Yeah, that's Jason Line as Stanfield does go away. It's a 6:54, 211 miles an hour for Jason Line on into the semifinals.
I'm bored with Jason. You're going to see Greg get the advantage pretty much instantly, and then as soon as he put second gear, that thing was done. But Jason Line, he was stuck right down the middle of the lane, makes a nice pass to get him into the semis.
And so that will bring up Ronnie Humphrey and Greg Anderson. And let's go to John Kernan. He's with Tony Schumacher.
With the disappointed Tony Schumacher. But, Tony, if there's any silver lining to this, you did have a bit of a cushion there. But it's going to be tight when we get to Vegas, isn't it?
Well, you know, and that's kind of what the fans are showing up for. It's not that we had the cushion. It's that we could have made it bigger. It was an outstanding race. You know, the fans at home get to see what it says, a whole shot, but I had 100th of a second better 60 foot. So, you know, when you add it all together, we probably had identical reaction times, identical cars, and in the margin of victory was just a few inches. It's what it is. It's what drag racing is all about. I got to go home, spend a few weeks with the family, which I'm really looking forward to. Been on the road for 4 weeks, and we really capitalized a lot in the earlier rounds. But, yeah, I would have liked to see us go on and win that race. We could have shown up with over a 100-point lead and had a little easier time in Vegas. But it ain't over yet. We're still going to go in with a lead, and it's going to be a battle.
It is going to be battle right to the end.
And another family affair here on the line. Ronnie Humphrey's sister is Kim. You saw her a moment ago. She's married to Greg Anderson.
Let's keep it all in the family, isn't it? Who do you root for on this one?
Well, it doesn't matter. You see, all the money goes into the same account. Yeah, that's the way I think it works.
You're right.
That's the way it works in my house.
Right in the middle on that deal, too, isn't she?
Yep.
Well, both these are KB cars. Ronnie Humphrey leases the cars, not a team car, according to Greg and Jason Line. So Ronnie Humphrey should be on his own.
And Greg Anderson, 652, 212 miles an hour. That was a great race.
Yeah, and Greg Anderson's really getting a handle on this race car. He is peaking at the right time. I think he's going to end up giving Mike Edwards a run for his money when it's all said and done.
Looking at it again, this is the quickest side-by-side race in Pro Stock history.
Ronnie Humphrey had a slight advantage off the starting line, but Greg Anderson was able to drive around. If you take a look at the Lucas Oil photo finish cam, it was Greg getting it by just a nose.
Boy, have we seen some wonderful racing today. Mike Edwards and Rodger Brogdon. Remember that Mike Edwards is not feeling well, but then again, he wasn't feeling well last Monday, and he had a pretty good day. Let's go to the top end. Jason Line is with Gary Gerald.
Jason, we were talking to you earlier today. You've been battling your teammate Greg Anderson for the number 2 spot, trying to chase down Mike Edwards. With these conditions having warmed up a bit, is there still any hope of being able to surpass what Edwards did and get a national record in bonus points?
Nah, not for us. I'm afraid that's over. But thought we had a shot there, but we didn't make a very good run. So you know, it is what it is. He's got the 20 points, and the best we can hope for is for him to try, you know, go out here this round and at least gain a round on him. But you know, he's tough right now. He's fast, and you know, these the two Summit cars are fast too. We felt like we could have ran with him or beat him today. We just didn't do quite a good enough job.
All right, well, let's go watch it and see what happens.
Now there's Rodger Brogdon. He's looking to go to his first semi. To do that, he's going to have to get around Mike Edwards and the machine. who ran the second fastest run in Pro Stock history this weekend. That was a 6:53 with a 1. Boy, the speeds have been wonderful. The races, great. Mike Edwards, 6:53, 211 and a half miles an hour.
53. Good job. Let's go on to round 3.
Now that guy is so strong, so tough to beat. Semifinal matchups then in Pro Stock. Mike Edwards will have lane choice when he comes on to take that man on the right there, Jason Line. And then Larry Morgan, who is not in the championship countdown, will take on Greg Anderson. Anderson has lane choice. Pro Stock's on the line. And we'll show you the Pro Stock ladder as Mike Edwards and Jason Line come up. They are both in the championship fight. And then it'll be Larry Morgan and Greg Anderson.
Matchup right now on the line is, like you said, Mike Edwards, Jason. Lane choice going to Mike Edwards in that left-hand lane. Pro Stock, I mean, I don't think it matters on any of the classes here. Right now, Mike Edwards just has a very good race car. Jason's not too far behind. You know, he can make up a little bit on the starting line, hopefully. At least he's hoping he can, and give Mike a race for this.
Yeah, this is all about Jason. He needs to beat Edwards to keep his title hopes alive. He ran a 6:54 and does not have lane choice. How do you do that? Well, against Edwards, no problem. Edwards is hot.
Oh, red light for Jason.
Can you believe that?
Oh, and Edwards went sideways.
Oh, man.
Jason's going to be kicking himself.
Well, take an aim at your big toe and fire. Jason Line, red light. Mike Edwards gets all over the place, goes down the track. Of course, he'll have the win.
By 15 thousandths of a second, Jason goes red. Now, that didn't affect the setup on Mike's car because it was going to do that no matter what. And obviously, Jason would have got that round win had he not red lighted. Wow, that thing made a right-hand turn. You talk about getting loose. I'm bored with Jason. I mean, he would have went right down the racetrack. He shoved the clutch in after he saw the red light. Tough break.
And if Mike Edwards would have crossed the center line, well, it would have changed again. Jason would have been the winner. Let's go to Gary Gerald. He has Tim Wilkerson.
Tim Wilkerson, last year we saw Cruz Pedregon come from deep in the pack, winning the last 3 events. Are you and your team capable of doing that to claim a championship?
Well, I think so. I mean, you know, you're not going to count Delaware either one out. It don't look like, does it? The Allen car, it's running strong. The Levi Range Shop car is running strong. With Summit and Diversified Yacht Service on our side, we're going to have a good car this next round. And, hey, it's going to be fun for Del and I both. It's good to see him in the finals with me. And hopefully the Ford takes home the trophy.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Now, 2 guys, Del Worsham and Tim Wilkerson, who started the day in the bottom half of the countdown to the championship, and they are going against one another in the finals. How great would it be if they both could move up? Some key players are out. Let's go to the stat guy.
This is one of the most amazing stats in drag racing. Greg Anderson owns Larry Morgan. He's 18-1 over Larry. The last time Larry beat him was the final at Sonoma back in 2002. That's Larry's last win on tour.
Isn't that great, though, to see Larry Morgan pulling up to the line in a semifinal? His last final round on the tour over a year ago when he lost to Dave Conley at Indy. That was 2008. And Greg Anderson, the fastest man in Pro Stock car history. Now, never won the Richmond race. He's never even raced here in a final round.
Well, Larry's got his work cut out to get around that man right there, because Greg's been running on average about 7/100ths of a second quicker in the first couple of rounds. So Greg Anderson on paper definitely has the car to beat, but if this is drag racing, anything can happen.
Greg Anderson, 6:52, 212 miles an hour.
That's exactly the elapsed time he ran in the previous round. And by the way, that's the exact number of the national record coming into this race. That is no longer set there because Mike Edwards went that 650 in the first round. Take another look at it. This was Greg Anderson. Once he didn't get loose like Mike Edwards, it was probably pretty much done at that point. His wife Kim obviously excited, especially when she saw that number come up on the board.
Greg Anderson rolls to a stop. Let's take a look at those pro stock points and figure out how they are changing as well. Mike Edwards is number 1, and Mike Dunn is saying Greg Anderson's the only one that can take him.
Yeah, it's the do or done line. I mean, we only got 2 races left, so Jason obviously is going to have to go out and win them or do very well the next 2 races.
Yeah, that was a critical moment for Jason Line, and he just didn't really step up to it. So the final matchup will be Greg Anderson into his 87th career final as he takes on Mike Edwards, his 10th final round of the season. Greg Anderson has the lane choice. Well, Antron Brown, they can sense that something is happening here in Top Fuel because all the key players are out. Antron's going into the final, and he can make up a lot of distance. At St. John's Episcopal Church in Richmond, Virginia, that is where Patrick Henry made the famous speech that included "Give me liberty or give me death." A very historic area around here in Richmond, Virginia. In late March of 1984, a moving company secretly packed up the Baltimore Colts' belongings and left. What caused the owner, Robert Irsay, to turn his back on a town and go to Indianapolis? ESPN's 30 for 30, the band that wouldn't die, presented by Levi's on ESPN Tuesday night at 8. And John Kernan now with Antron Brown.
Antron Brown running around furiously trying to get ready for this final round matchup. And Antron, let me slow you down for just a second. I might be the only one to slow you down today. Looks like you're back into this whole championship hunt. You told me earlier in the week you guys are going back to what you had done earlier in the year when you led the points for a good bit of the time. So it's working?
Yeah, I mean, the car's very consistent, and Brian and Mark, you know, that's the main key. It makes it more manageable for them. I mean, it was nothing wrong with the car the way we were running it before. It's just that we're not used to that yet. You know, I mean, the car shows signs of being better, but right now you got to go back to basics. We got to go know what got us here, and those boys looked at it and said, "Antron, don't worry about it." They told me before I left this race, the last race that we had in Memphis, they don't worry about it. We're going to go back to what we do, and I said the same thing. And think about it, we have nothing to lose out here, and that's the way we raced at the beginning of the year. And when we came out here for that countdown, we were racing like we were protecting something, and I was doing it myself. So it was just like, now I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go out here and just do what we do. Each round's a qualifying round. I'm going to attack it as hard as I can, attack the tree, drive the car as perfect as I can and as best as I can, and just keep everything light and just stay nimble with it. And the boys have been doing the same thing on the car. And our team is coming together, and we're getting there.
Well, best of luck to you, to Gary Gerald.
The pressure, the drama of the countdown to the championship unfolding here in Pro Stock as the Summit KB racing team trying somehow to get up there and challenge Mike Edwards before it's all said and done. And I know for Jason Line it has to be a bitter disappointment because that was your opportunity. Tell us how you handle the emotion of that disappointment.
Well, that was our year right there. You know, pretty much championships out of reach. You know, for sure for us, and it is disappointing for sure. We've had a good year. I just didn't do a good enough job right there. And what are you going to say? We got one Summit car in the final, though, and Boss Man's going to go win the race. So,
well, let's get a word from the Boss Man. Greg, this car seems to be hitting its stride now. Are you confident that you can take Edwards out in the final?
I am, you know, but you better not get overconfident. We know exactly what Mike Edwards can do. He can go out and run low ET, stack records all day long. So he made a small mistake there, and we don't see him make many mistakes. So, yeah, that gives you a little bit of confidence. But if you go out and don't perform perfectly, he's still going to beat you. And like Jason said, then the points will be out of reach. So Jason be a little tough on himself. I still don't think if I can get around Mike in the final, we still got a shot. He can still make a mistake early. We still got a shot. So, but that's probably the only chance we got if I can beat him right here.
In addition to this final round upcoming, only 8 more elimination rounds remain in the season. Critical, obviously.
And so the final rounds, G-Man, are critical as well, and there they are. Everybody in the finals, those on top, they have lane choice. Brown over Brandon Bernstein, Tim Wilkerson over Dell, and Greg Anderson over Mike Edwards. You think these finals aren't going to be good? I'm telling you they are. And Mike Dunn's telling you to stick around. ESPN's presentation of the NHRA Virginia Nationals is brought to you by Full Throttle. Go Full Throttle or go home. Scott Palmer, his winning effort in round one, but he had so much damage he couldn't answer the call for the second round against Brandon Bernstein. And now it's time for the quest for the Full Throttle moment of the race.
Let's start you out in pro stock, and we're going to have to go first round. Mike Edwards and V Gaines. Mike Edwards sets the national record on this run, a 6:50 with the 9. Gets those extra bonus points, the quickest pro stock run in history.
Well, Pro Stock rolls out from under the tower here for the finals. And think about this one. Quickest Pro Stock car. That's Edwards. Racing the fastest Pro Stock car. That's that man, Greg Anderson. I was talking to a lot of the gang in the Pro Stock contingent on Friday, and they all said it. The only way that anybody else is going to win this championship is Edwards makes a major mistake. Let's go to the stat guy.
Mike Edwards looking to do something he's never done before, earn maximum points in a race. He's got the record. He's got to win to get them all. That'd be 150. He would join Bob Glidden, Warren Johnson, and Greg Anderson and Jason Line, who have all won and got all the points in a race back in the day. 138 points, now 150.
And Greg Anderson trying to do something he's never done. Win at Richmond. He hasn't won Richmond, Chicago, or Charlotte. Dave Reed.
Paul, think of this potential scenario. Should Greg Anderson win this race while also setting the national record, he could potentially pickpocket Mike Edwards. He said they're definitely going after it. The air conditions are borderline right now. He says, but we're going to push it because we might need those 20 extra points. This could be a defining moment in Pro Stock.
Well, you can't hardly blame Greg for going for it, but, you know, Mike Edwards, I mean, he's the king of the bonus points. I mean, sweeps pretty much every session now that we have those extra 3 points for each session, then walks away with the national record, an extra 20 if he can do it here. Greg Anderson's the last one standing in his way. Remember, Mike got way sideways when he had the left lane in the previous round. Greg Anderson with lane choice, he's in the left-hand lane, but he ran very well there last round.
Look at that, the win goes to Mike Edwards, 6:52, 211 miles an hour to losing 6:52 with a 2. And the quickest side-by-side Pro Stock race ever. You just saw it.
And Mike Edwards on a hole shot. He's been having trouble all year long on the starting line, but he stepped up for the final round, 0:19 to 0:27. Good lights for both drivers, but Mike Edwards had almost 100th of a second advantage. He needed because he ran a little bit slower elapsed time, but still got first.
And Kim Anderson turns away. That may mean that it's over for them for the year. Look at that at the finish line. Let's go to Dave Reed.
Terry Adams, tell me what it means to you to walk out of here with the perfect weekend. All the points you could possibly get, including that national record.
Man, what can we say? What about this team? You know, Josh, John, and Mike and Al and the guys at the end. I mean, they gave us a dead in the semis. You know, I mean, we made a bad run in the semis, and man, this team came right back, and we put this ART Pontiac. It's in winner's circle. I mean, what a terrific weekend we've had. I mean, we got every point NHRA was giving us. We capitalized on it. We kept our heads together, and we won the race. I mean, this is truly a dream come true.
Right now, that happy driver's down at the far end with Gary.
Your crew was talking about a dream come true, Mike Edwards. You came into this weekend ailing all week long, but to walk out of here with a perfect day and a tremendous drag race, the quickest we've ever seen in Pro Stock history, your thoughts?
All I can do is sum this day up. It was the Almighty God just bless us again. I just give him all the glory, Gary. It's just unbelievable what he's done for me and this team. This team is just totally awesome. I tell you what, we come in here this weekend and knew what we had to do, and we got it done. And well, I tell you what, we got a break there against Jason in the third round, but man, it feels good to win, and even got that ET record too to go with it. So thanks to everybody, ART, everybody that's involved, Contemporary, Corvette, all those people that help us just means a whole lot to me and my team, Rodger, Stahl, and all the Young Life group, and everybody. Thanks.
He just put a stranglehold on this championship.
Yeah, you pick up the extra 20 points for the record, and Mike Dunn has no choice. That line's going right under Mike Edwards. It's all but his. And those guys in white, they are absolutely out of it. Guess